The UK's first Citroen Ami is dead, and it might even be scrapped. You might have noticed that I haven't published any videos about my Citroen Ami for a while, and there's a very good reason for that. As a quick refresher, in September 2022, I took delivery of the very first retail Citroen Ami in the UK. There had been a couple of grey imports kicking around before that, but this was the first one delivered by Citroen UK to a retail customer. The excitement was relatively short-lived. A few short weeks later, it developed a squealing noise from the drivetrain and it was recovered to the main dealer. Motor failure was diagnosed and the motor was replaced. And actually, it was back on the road fairly quickly, if you remember. The new motor seemed to resolve the problem at the time, and I continued bringing new Ami related videos. I loved it, despite how much controversy it seems to generate. Plenty of people who have never driven one before seem to hate it, but well, their opinions are pretty invalid. Fast forward then to the first week of October 2024, and it's time to take it in for its first service. Ami's on a 2-year service schedule. Alright, it was a week overdue technically, thanks to the availability of the dealer, but I hadn't clocked up loads of miles in it over the 2 years. In fact, the odometer was reading less than 1,000 miles at this point. And it breaks down. I'm literally driving it to the dealer for its first service. I pull up to a set of traffic lights and it gives a single beep, which normally means something is wrong. This is the same noise it makes if it goes into limp mode in the cold weather or a low state of charge. And a red warning triangle lights up on the dash. And there is no power, no response from the throttle whatsoever. Now, I'd heard a few horror stories by this point of people experiencing drivetrain failure in early Amis, 2022 registered cars. And one person had actually had basically the entire drivetrain replaced under warranty. That's the battery, the motor, the wiring, absolutely everything. It was basically, apart from the body shell, completely new, completely replaced. And the cost of that was more than the list price of the vehicle, but it was covered under warranty, so he didn't need to worry about it. But if you think about it, it's a pretty ridiculous fault to experience on such a new vehicle. So I'm sat at these traffic lights, I turn the ignition off and turn it back on. This snaps it out of the limp mode if it goes into it, so there's a decent chance it'll help us here too. And if you remember, my day job is in IT, so turn it off, turn it back on again, fairly instinctive. And it moves forward about a foot and then it shudders to a halt again. Same beep, same red triangle, same dead. Bugger. I'm sat at a green light at one of the busiest junctions in Gloucester at this point. Hazard lights on, angry commuters horning me behind. And I'm actually thinking about getting out and pushing it at this point. Ami's not very heavy, fairly easy to do that with, but I thought we'll give it another try. I'm not quite sure how, in the heat of the moment, how I managed to work this out, but it turned out that if I gave it just a tiny, tiny amount of throttle, tiny amount, it would crawl forward and it wouldn't conk out. Ami's not exactly fast anyway, and crawling around with like 10% throttle makes that even worse. But it's moving again, so I can get it to safety, get it out of the way. All these people behind me can get to where they're going. Happy days. So I limp it to a supermarket car park, and by this point I'm about half a mile from the Citroen main dealer that I was going to for the service. And I give them a call and ask them if they could do me a favour, come and pick it up and bring it in for me. Oh no, sir. Oh no, we can't help you with that at all. You need to call your own recovery if you want to get it recovered to us. That's not something we can help you with. Fantastic. I didn't think it was too much to ask, really. You know, I'm half a mile away. Could you send the same truck you use for deliveries, come and grab this and bring it in? All right, might have been out on a job, might have not been available. Fair enough. On to Citroen Assistance then, the breakdown cover provided by the RAC. And they also refused to help me. They tell me that the cover for this vehicle has expired and therefore I am not eligible for any assistance unless I pay for it. Despite the fact the Citroen website quite clearly states that electric vehicles are covered for 3 years from new. Third time lucky, I call AutoAid, who I keep a policy running with. Even if I've got modern cars with included breakdown cover, I always just pay for this every year. They've never ever failed to help me, and this was no exception. They really are fantastic, and I'd fully recommend them to anybody that was looking for breakdown cover. You used to have to pay up front for the service they gave you and then claim it back from them, like more like an insurance policy than a breakdown service. But they scrapped that a few years ago, and so now it's just sort of you call them, they help you. That's how it works. It's basically just a call center, and all they do is instruct a local recovery operator in your area to come and scoop you up. 9 times out of 10, they'll just recover you. They don't really bother trying to fix anything at the side of the road. But with most modern cars, that's all you need anyway. And within an hour and a half, a recovery truck was there to pick me up. And they sent a tiny, tiny little truck. I don't know how it could cope with the sheer weight of my massive electric vehicle. Finally, it's recovered to the dealer. And the dealer, they carry out the service it was booked in for, and they tell me on the phone that, oh, we've cleared the fault codes, so it's ready to pick up. It's driving again, and it's good to go. Now, last time I checked, clearing fault codes didn't actually equate to carrying out a repair. So I was a little bit apprehensive about the drive home, but I went and picked it up anyway, and actually it drove home. I did make it okay, no issues. Of course, rather predictably, the next time I went to go out in it, it wouldn't even move off the driveway. Same beep, same red triangle, no movement. In the interim though, I've had a good old moan at Citroen UK customer services about the RAC and the fact they refused to cover it. They confirmed they made a mistake, they'd updated the cover, and it was now covered by the RAC as it always should have been. So, call the RAC, they come and recover it off my driveway on the 24th of October. And I'm sorry to say, that was the last time I saw my Citroen Ami. The dealer took absolutely ages to actually do anything with it. Seeking guidance from Citroen Technical in France, as is fairly common with any issues with Ami, but it seems to drag on for a lot longer this time. On the 15th of November, they confirmed to me that they are seeking technical guidance for a fault code relating to an intermittent fault with the electric motor. Not the best news, given it's already had a motor before in its life, but fine, they're working on it, I'll leave it to them. And on the 6th of December, the dealer's service manager calls me to confirm that the vehicle requires repair in line with a technical service bulletin that says to replace the entire drivetrain. So the exact same repair that I talked about earlier. You basically replace everything. New battery, new motor, new everything in between. And that is everything. It's basically the whole vehicle. But the real kicker though, and this is where it gets interesting, the warranty has expired. Ami has a 2-year warranty. As things stand, I'm on the hook for the cost of repair at, wait for it, £9,000. £9,000 to carry out this ridiculous repair of just replacing everything. I mean, it sounds like the Premier League parts darts, doesn't it? We'll just replace everything. It will fix it. Of course, the chap that's given me this news on the phone understands that it's not going to be something I'm going to pay for. Nobody in the right mind would, right? Especially in such a new vehicle. And he suggests that I raise a case with Citroen UK customer services, and the chances are they'll meet the cost. They'll agree to pay for it. Now, remember, Ami is sold direct to consumer by Citroen. So the dealer's involvement is just to deliver it to you if you choose to pick it up from your local dealer and carry out any servicing and repairs. So they didn't sell me the car, therefore they can't make decisions about what they're going to do about warranty and fixing it. That all lies with Citroen themselves. And I'm pretty apprehensive about going cap in hand to Citroen and begging them to fix this thing, because even if they do carry out this massive repair, if they replace everything and they agree to do that under warranty as a goodwill repair, what happens if it fails again in the future? What happens if it lasts another year, 2 years, and then it completely dies again and needs the whole lot doing again? Are they going to stand behind it at that point and agree that it's a design fault and that they should pay for it again? I think we both know the answer to that question. So I go ahead and I raise a case with customer care, but I'm not asking them to repair the vehicle. I'm telling them I want to reject it. I want to give it back to them and I want a full refund of the purchase price. Remember though, this is the second time this vehicle has broken down with issues with the electric motor. It was very, very new the first time, and therefore you can draw a conclusion that says it's an inherent fault that was present in the vehicle at the time of sale. Because it failed so early on and has failed again with the same issue, you can draw that conclusion. And basically what I'm saying to them It was never right in the first place, and it was faulty when you sold it to me brand new. The Consumer Rights Act 2015 gives provision for this, but you're stretching that after 2 years. If it had never failed in the first place, when it was nearly new, there'd be absolutely no chance of this at all. Pushing them to fix it would be the best outcome. You'd have no chance of being able to reject it realistically. But I'm rolling the dice a little bit. I'm kind of going in hard, and we'll see what happens. If they push back and say they're going to have to repair it, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, shall we? On the 20th of December, Citroen tell me that they are referring the case to their European central team. They have all the information from the dealer that they need to progress. That's fair enough. This type of thing isn't going to be signed off easily. We're going to have to go way up the chain, and I'm expecting to need to fight them for an outcome, no matter what that outcome might look like, because whether it's a repair or a refund, we're asking them for quite a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. Nothing happens for a while, but with Christmas and New Year, that's hardly surprising. And then out of the blue, on the 10th of January, they confirm that they have accepted my case, and they will be issuing me with a full refund of the invoice price that I paid for the vehicle when it was new. To say I'm surprised not to have to fight them and not to have to talk about legal action and court and all that stuff would be a massive understatement, and a huge relief, let's be honest, because this could have got pretty nasty pretty quickly. And then nothing. Weeks and weeks and weeks pass by. I'm chasing them occasionally and I'm getting absolutely nowhere. Calling the main Citroen customer service number, asking them to update me on the case, and I get told the person that's dealing with your case is unavailable at the moment and there is nobody else that can handle it. There's no other point of escalation. There's not a manager you can speak to, nothing. And that just seems crazy. In any other industry, if you need to be away from the business for an extended period of time for whatever reason, somebody else picks up your workload. It seems Citroen UK customer services, that doesn't happen, and it just gets left. And that is bizarre and inexplainable. But eventually, at the start of this month, February, the dealer gets in touch saying that Citroen have actually sent them the money to refund me and that they need my bank details in order to make that happen. Fair enough. I mean, it's a result, I guess, but how it's been quite so long leading up to this, I'm not quite sure. And then, again, for a couple of weeks, nothing happens. And then out of the blue the other day, the money just lands in my bank account. I've still got the V5. I've still got the spare key. Maybe by the time you see this, I won't. Maybe we'll have sorted that out. But at the moment, it's still registered to me and stuff, but I've got the money back as well. So, yeah, that's a bit odd. But that brings my time with the Citroen Ami to an end. It's a sad ending to what was a fairly happy thing, at least when it worked. I don't know what will happen to it. Will it be scrapped? In theory, it's got terminal failure. They're not going to fix it, I wouldn't have thought, and so scrapping it would be the logical thing to do, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see it appear at auction as a non-runner. I'll certainly be keeping an eye out, and well, if I see it, I'll let you know. Would I buy another Citroen Ami? Possibly, but it would need to be a 2023 on one, where they fitted an improved battery pack, and in reality it would probably be the very newest model, which has some other improvements in addition, and would benefit from a full warranty. But the biggest thing I think that would put me off is the support. The dealers clearly don't know how to do anything with Ami. They're relying every single time on support from France. When something goes wrong, that's all they can do. And Citroen's customer service on the whole is just so ropey that I'm not sure I'd be rushing to buy another new Citroen anytime soon. But granted, I did get the outcome I was looking for. And let's be honest, I've done very, very well here. If you look up how much a 2022 Citroen Ami is actually worth now, I've come out of this very well. And, you've got to be happy with that. So, was it the worst outcome? No, absolutely not. But would I rush to be involved in something like this again? Also no. What's next then? Well, I've ordered something to replace Ami. So watch this space. And make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on, because you'll find out what it is fairly shortly. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.